I always say that the key to being a good, safe driver and ultimately passing the driving test is to plan ahead and read the road ahead as best you can. This means not having tunnel vision, which means not focusing on the one thing too much. Let's look at an example here now. So here I'm about to take a right at traffic lights, and if we play it on, we'll see what happens, okay? So taking the right here. Now if we just pause it, say here, okay, we can see that as I'm turning here, you can just catch a glimpse of another separate set of lights further on, and it's green. The light is green. But if we just play it on a little bit more, as I'm in mid-turn, I notice then that the light goes to amber. So that means that if I'm focusing too much on this car here who could be moving off, this car on the left here, if I'm focusing too much on the parked cars, the cars further down, and even these two pedestrians crossing the road here, if I focus too much on that and lose sight of the lights, there is a strong possibility that I could run the amber or red light when I could easily stop. So this just shows the importance of not focusing on the one thing too much and to read as much as possible of the road ahead. So here we're going to have a stretch of road similar to any stretch of road you might face in a driving test. And we're just going to pause it, say here for example. Now I'm going to just show you the different obstacles or potential pieces of danger you have to watch out for. So we have parked cars here on the left, so just make sure you're a door length there. We have a green bin just up there, slightly obscured, but that means there could be bin lorries out, so prepare for the possibility of that hazard. We have more parked cars there with a road that kind of changes direction a bit. I have to move out gradually here because the road kind of moves out because of the extra line of parked cars further down. And I'm also aware of the oncoming cars, and I'm aware of the broken white line there as well as the continuous white line prior to it. So they're all things you have to be aware of, but you can't think too slowly. So here's how you have to do it if you're driving along in your driving lesson or your driving test. So parked car on the left, make sure you're door length, watch out for bin lorries, more parked cars here, move out gradually for the road, be aware of markings and oncoming cars. So I've said that kind of quickly and decisively because when you're driving at 45-50 kilometers, you don't have time to be thinking too long, and that's what I mean by scanning ahead and reading the road ahead. I'm not trying to tell you how to deal with all these things, I'm just highlighting that the dangers or potential dangers are there. Let's move on to another one. So here then I've just taken a left turn and I'm driving up a slight hill, I suppose here. And if we just pause it here then, we'll see that on the left we have two fellas here and a red parked car as well. Now notice the way the two fellas are looking away from the road. So their attention is drawn away from me. So they don't look like they're going to pose any real danger because their attention is drawn somewhere else. And the parked car looks like it's reasonably well off the road and parked safe. So that it's good to be aware of it, but you don't want to freak out over it or overreact to it either. We have a car further up there in the distance, and we also have on the right more parked cars, and it looks like someone opening a door. So we're going to be aware of that as well, because that might be more relevant danger, let's say, just in case a child runs out or something like that. It's also a slight uphill, so it might need a bit of juice. You might need to stay longer in second or third gear, for example. And if you look closely, the road surface is probably not the best. Looks like there could be a few holes or pieces of uneven tarmac on the ground there. So again, when you're driving along, in your driving test, you don't have time to be analysing it to that extent. So here's how you do it. Pedestrians on the left, parked car left and right, pedestrian at the car door, a car in the distance up ahead, potentially uneven surface on the uphill. So they're the type of things you have to be saying and commentating to yourself, so you are aware of the potential hazards or dangers ahead. Here's another situation here in town as well. So I'm driving up along this street, and if we just pause it here, we'll see some various things we need to be aware of. So there's a parked car on the left there, so I'm aware of that, both in terms of giving the proper distance and also just in case there's a pedestrian or a cyclist hidden behind it. I can also see just above the parked car there's a sign there for a pedestrian crossing, it looks like, and I can also see the traffic lights ahead, which is probably connected to that sign. It's reasonably quiet, there's not a whole lot of traffic or pedestrians out on the road, so I'm aware of that. There's a car ahead as well, and it looks like there's people in the distance walking towards me, so I'm aware that these people might be walking down towards the pedestrian crossing, so I need to be alert to the fact that they might use the pedestrian crossing. And we can see as well that the road narrows quite a bit there as well, so it basically means that I'm going to be entering a bottleneck, so I need to be aware of oncoming cars there. I may have to yield, I may be let go, who knows. So let's look at all those hazards now, and we'll think about them and talk about them in the way you'll be doing in your driving test. Parked car on the left, pedestrian crossing ahead, reasonably quiet, traffic lights up there, car ahead as well, people in the distance, road narrows into a bottleneck. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. And if you wish to make a voluntary donation by PayPal, a link will be in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.